All right, guys. Well, I am so excited to get the opportunity to connect with all of you um, this morning. And this session of our forum is actually how to have an awesome front desk sales meeting. Now, the reason why I really wanted to lead in this conversation was because I have found that sometimes what can happen is we don't even know where to start with our own companies. We don't even know what's happening. We want to have them as a sales team, but we don't know where to start or where to begin. So what I'm going to do today is share with you the tools that you can use to help you create an awesome sales meeting. I'm going to have some bullet points. I'm also going to have some touch points for you guys to see. I will also mostly just want to say thank you for joining my forum and being a part of this process with me. My name is Jules, so please feel free to follow me on social. I am a front desk team leader for the front desk division at Summit Salon Business Center. I'm also a consultant, and I'll kind of share with you a little bit about what got me to this space today. You can scan for my bio and my information. I am just like all of you. I am a service provider by trade, and I started off actually at I'm a stylist behind the chair. So that's my calling is I'm a stylist behind the chair. I'm a level 6 stylist behind the chair that also works with an associate. And the main reason that I started in this conversation was in my own space. I saw a disconnect between front desk teams and service providers. This was before I was an owner, and I wanted to close the gap in between. I've been with Summit now 9 years, hard to believe, but I graduated from a Summit Salon Academy school, grew through the systems really quickly, and learned that there was a need and a desire to grow teams and to grow companies, and specifically at the front desk. So now I've made it my life mission to be a salon success coach, work behind the chair, work at the front desk, and train associates to get them level 1 ready to be on the floor in our salon company. So clearly, I enjoy chaos like the rest of us in the world. Because why not? Now, I knew that the training at the front desk is always the hardest piece to get going. I knew that training was difficult. I felt like I would often hear even my own front desk team be like, yeah, no one told me. And I'm like, I literally told you 16 times. Or my personal favorite, no one trained me. Like, I assure you that is not true. So I really started doing front desk sales meetings with my team because I wanted the communication to be better. I wanted them to have value. I knew as a company we would do meetings with our service providers, but we we can't ask our front desk team to know what's happening because everybody was moving all the time. So I'm going to share with you guys a layout for a front desk sales meeting. I want this to be open dialogue and open conversation. And I'll ask some questions too, because I want to know what you need. I have amazing content here, but for me in this forum, I think it's more important that I meet you where you're at. I give you what you need and answer questions that you have too. So I'm going to start in, and if here's some things. If you have questions for me, all I want you to do is either click the button that says raise your hand and or just put your hand in front of the camera and wave it. I will see your beautiful photo on the side, so that will allow me to get my attention to unmute you into the conversation. So here's what we're going to expect today. What is the purpose? Who should be involved? Best practices, plans of action. Those are the 4 main things that I'm going to touch on today. I'm going to also give you examples of how to build this out. I think that's going to be also a really big part of this process, is going through that. So let's start off from the beginning. Um, what is the purpose of a front desk sales meeting? It's pretty simple. Clear communication. So the purpose of a sales meeting, clear communication, understanding our promotions. So clear communication, understanding our promotions, a sense of community, a sense of community. And the fourth part is really understanding scripting and sales. If let's start really though at the beginning of this process. If we want our front desk to be driving sales, which Summit coaches to have your front desk drive sales. I'd be actually curious in the chat box if you could just pop in the chat box. If you have had front desk coaching, just type in Y for yes and N for no. Great. So we have a little bit of everybody. Okay, cool. Okay, I love that. So we have a little bit of cocktails of yes and no. So let me tell you a little bit about that person. It's important at Summit Salon Business Center, we really coach and mentor to having a career path, having a plan of action, and knowing how to walk with a plan every single day. So if we think that the job description at the front desk is just answering the phones, then they won't understand sales. But if I believe in, and my mentor, Christy Valens Will, says this all the time, change your words, change your life, change your words, change the outcome. And that's exactly what we need to do. We need to change the description of the front desk. Step one. So if we change the description of the front desk and we start to just kind of plant some beautiful sales seeds, what it really is a beautiful blend of customer service and sales. But do not get it twisted. It most certainly is sales. So if you start changing the conversation and just start calling it customer service and sales, when you start to transition into having a front desk sales meeting, right, then they know the intention. Oftentimes we might even say, oh, well, you're going to just have a front desk meeting. When you guys hear the word front desk meeting, you might think of things like, okay, like we're going to get in trouble, or okay, like it's just going to be a bunch of stuff. Let's start with the end result and the end outcome in the beginning. So let's start calling it a front desk sales meeting. If you don't know where to start, I often coach we should have one every single month. But some salon companies are like, oh my gosh, like that is scary. That's too much. No worries. Let's meet you where you're at. If you can start to build one out quarterly, start there. Quarterly. I started off quarterly and now I'm into monthly. Who should be involved? These are the main influencers in your company. So all front desk team members that you have. Now, if you have one front desk team member, maybe do it in person, right? But if you can't, then do it on a virtual platform. All of the front desk coaching for even my own team, our front desk sales meetings are the first Sunday of every month at 9 a.m. I set them out a year in advance. So they already know that it's a year in advance. It's the first Sunday of every month at 9 a.m. Now, how did I determine that timeline, 9 a.m. and first Sunday? Well, I asked my team. I asked my front desk team, what works best for you? Here are 3 options that are available. And then I just did a survey monkey, or if you use GroupMe, you can set a poll, and I put that out for them to choose. But you guys, I based it off of my schedule on what I can accommodate to. So I gave them 3 options, they choose, and we set that up for a whole year in advance. So who should be involved is your front desk team, Anybody that spends time at the front desk. So if you have associates that help at the front desk, they need to be involved. If you have level ones that work at the front desk, they need to be involved. If you have a leadership team, they need to be involved. Those are all of the people who need to be involved in this process. You guys, in the next hour, you are going to think and feel like you drank through a fire hydrant. So I don't want you to come into this conversation expecting to take all of this and run, but I want you to pick one or two things that you can start with. And like I say often is like, for me, I'm visual, so I like will take lots of notes, and then I want you to pick like three colors. So maybe it's a yellow, a green, and an orange, and highlight the thing you want to start first with in green. Highlight the thing that you want to start second with in orange, and highlight the third thing that you're like, I'll get to that, not now, in your yellow. So now you know, okay, action item 1, action item 2, action item 3. So then it becomes very easy for you to do, and it doesn't feel overwhelming to you at all. I'd love to actually ask some questions though. For anyone that's open to, chatting with me a little bit, what are some of the biggest challenges that you feel like you run into when it comes to this concept of a sales meeting for your front desk?
I don't mind sharing. One of the biggest things that we have come into with sales, specifically with like our goals and that kind of thing, is for it to be a competitive environment, but not cutthroat to where now they're competing against each other and we don't have a team anymore. That's something that we're struggling with big time.
Competitive environment, but not cutthroat. It's actually harder to get people to have competitive, so I love that.
Right. I know, it always seems we have the opposite problem sometimes.
That's okay. Good. Thank you for sharing. Who else do we have? And that was Kinsley, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Kinsley.
I just unmuted. So this is Tyne from Zoya Spawn Salon in Janesville. So one of the things that we struggle the most with is the age range of our front desk team. I think we could probably accommodate a virtual meeting, maybe quarterly, but it seems like this is not a top priority for them. Like a lot of them, it's their first job. I think we struggle a lot with, we're a large company, but where our budget is at for front desk, we're not able to hire someone who has a ton of experience without kind of really blowing that budget. So the caliber of people that we're getting at our front desk for the wage that we can fit into our budget, this is not a top priority for them. To them, it's just like, okay, well, I just show up and I get it. It's a sales position. And we talk about, I felt like we were checking all the boxes when you were going through that. But to them, it's getting them to commit, because to them, it's just not quite as important as overall we feel in management that it should be.
I love that you said that, because I can definitely agree with you on that. So let me tell you real quick, in my own company, I have 16, so the age 16-year-olds to the geriatric unit of 34, which is me. Yeah. So you could be my mom. I'm like, oh, bless your heart. I most certainly cannot. So I totally know what you mean when you say things like, it's not a top priority. I'm going to tell you some amazing best practices, because I typically will get 90% attendance in my calls for my team meeting.
Perfect. Thank
you. I got you.
Good.
I got you.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else as far as a challenge that you're running into? Tabitha?
Yeah, so I only have one customer service expert. And then my staff kind of fills in the gaps in the evenings. Mark, my front desk expert, he works 9 to 5 every day. So he covers the majority of the day. And then in the evenings, the level ones, cover the rest of the time. So what I find is having, my service providers who are predominantly hairstylists
Mm-hmm.
and Mark all on the same page about sales, and not him particularly not having that stress him out so much that he just gives up on the goal.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Okay. I like that. Thank you for sharing. I'll help with that too today.
Okay.
Okay, good. Anyone else that would like to share? All right. Well, we're going to keep going then, which will be good. Awesome. So I have those things. So I think let's start off with some of this conversation. The first thing that you guys I want to address is the competitiveness, the age range. You are exactly right. We have a team that is younger and younger and younger. Here is the thing that I'm going to tell you, and write it down, tattoo it on your arm, whatever you need to do. We need to meet them where they're at, not where we want them to be. We need to meet them where they're at, not where we want them to be. I also was struggling in that conversation. So with getting them is not a top priority. The first thing is, I think it comes back to the very beginning, which is our interview process with them. Are we setting our expectations for them at the beginning? If the answer is no, that's how you fix it right off the rip. The average person needs to hear something 16 times before remembering it. I feel like with a 16 to 20-some-year-old, it's like 35 times, right? So I'm always reminding my team. The day before our meeting, I put into our communication, we use GroupMe. I say, oh yeah, don't forget, tomorrow is our team meeting, first Sunday of every month. Let me know if you are unable to attend. I need to know 24 hours in advance. Now, my team meeting, you guys, my sales meeting is done virtually. It's done through Zoom. Now, every quarter, it will probably be in person if we can make that work. But I tell them, I need you to 80-20, and that's actually on my next slide. I'll show you 80-20. So I want you to come to our meeting, but here's really the key that I want you to think about. 10 slides equal 1 hour. People are visual. They need to see what's happening. If we're just talking, it is not enough. They don't care. It's like hearing Charlie Brown's teacher. So we have to have like something visually appealing. So I'm giving you examples on the right-hand side for you guys to see as well. So 10 slides equal 1 hour. It needs to only be 45 minutes to an hour, no more than that. Keep it visual, keep it fun. 80-20, celebrate updates and temperature checks. So, and here's how I would lay this out. So let's just say that Samantha is my new front desk sales expert. I'm going to sit down. We've interviewed. I love her. She loves me. It's meant to be. Love at first sight. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to say, hey, Samantha. So I remember we talked about our front desk sales meetings every month. She's going to say, yeah, awesome. So let me just share my expectations around that. So here's what it is. Remember, it's the first Sunday of every month. So I would recommend that you put it into your phone as a reminder the day before and have an alarm set off on repeat. It's going to be 45 minutes to an hour and 80-20. So I know you might get sick. I know that life might happen. I know that you might be on a vacation. My expectation as your leader is that you come to 80% of them. So in a year, I need you to just make sure that you come to 80% of them. If you're not able to attend, because I know that happens, no worries. I'm just going to ask that you let me know 24 hours in advance. Just send me a text and let me know, because I am a mama. So if you just don't show up and that's out of character, I literally feel like you're dead on the side of the road. Like, I don't know where you are. And I panic. So please let me know. And it's going to be virtual. So all I require is that your camera is on. You will be paid for your time. And even if you're laying on the side of your like bed with your pillow like this and your camera's on, I love that. That's fine. And she's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, I just need you to be in attendance of where we're at. If you're not able to make it, no worries. I will send the recording to you, and then you just need to share with me what you learned about it, okay? And then I'm going to pause, and I'm going to say, Samantha, what questions might you have for me now? And she's going to say, I'm good. Awesome. So, did you see how I just set my expectations? Right there is how I am able to get anywhere from an 80 to 90% attendance. I remind them the day before. I send a text message 30 minutes prior to our Zoom call. Yeah. And at first, you guys, I still do this regularly to the point where it's like, I'm training the behavior. But I would say one of the biggest things as leaders that we forget is we want them to be, we want to run sales meetings like we've always ran them, or we want to run meetings like we've always ran them. This is not the same person. Let's love them and meet them where they're at, not where we want them to be. If they are 16 or 17 or even 21 and they're that college age, y'all, they have the smoky eye from the vodka from the night before. Right? They're like, but guess what? I know that they're in attendance. I know they're hearing me. And I am not going to be bothered if I have Sally Mae sitting there with her head like this, because I'm still engaging with her because she knows that she's there. And I'm going to love her through that. Now, I know that some owners probably are going to be like, when they hear me say this, they're like, are you kidding me? No, I'm not kidding you. And if you want to do what you've always done, you are always going to get the result that you've always had. If you want to try something new, try something you've never done, get a result that you've never had. Right? So here's my layout, my slide. And I'm giving you examples of what the slide actually looks like. Some of you are like, I don't even know where to do that. How do I start? Y'all, get in Canva. It is awesome. I save this and I literally just change out the details every month.
It is. We just got the Zoom link. We were in the invitation for the Google Meet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so no worries. So just make sure you use
Zoom link.
All you have to do then is make sure that you're using your Canva on there. And you guys, here's another thing. If you have a team member at your front desk who is super techie and loves doing this, delegate it. There's 2 parts to delegation. Part 1, giving the process to them. Step 2, following it up and following through to make sure it was done. So delegate it and then praise them when they do it. That's how you get this, like, and they'll keep it fun, believe me. They'll ask you, like, what are your expectations for me? Or they won't even say it that way. They'll be like, so what do you want? And I'll be like, I need it to have 10 slides. I need it visual. I need to celebrate. I need updates. I need temperature checks. And they're like, okay. If they're anything like my front desk team, they're like, they say this to me, I got you, sis. I'm like, I'm a sis. Okay. So that is our first slide. Give me a thumbs up if you found value so far. Okay, cool. Here's my second slide, expectation, which we kind of talked about already. How will they know? Every time I hear that, I think of Whitney Houston, like, how will they know? And how will they know, though? How will they know what their expectation is or what your expectation is of them if you never told them? So put that on the slide. Tell them what your expectation is. They cannot read our minds. Have we shared? I talked about that already. Have we shared with them what our expectation is? And did we follow up with them? And do they know that this is part of their job description? If the answer is no, that's why we're not getting turnout, because they had no idea that it was a big deal. What's a big deal to you is not to them. So we have to share with them why, what, how. Why is this important? What we're going to do and how we're going to implement it. Why, what, how. All right, here is another example that I'm going to share. This is my salon company right in here. And what I wanted to share with them is like when you're creating your deck, that's what we call a PowerPoint, a deck. You want it to be visually appealing. So look at, I'm using fun colors. It's on brand. It's got my logo. I want them to know my mission of my brand. Who are we? What makes us special? And celebrate the heck out of them. If there's a slide that you want them to share, tell them, hey, screenshot a photo of us working together on our sales meeting, post it on your social media, get a friend to come in to apply for the position, and I'm going to have a prize for you. Yeah, internal, right? So understanding the mission, it always shocks me how many people work for companies and they don't actually know the mission of the company. And if that's you, that's okay. But now you know too much. So sharing with them the mission of who you are, what makes you cool, more importantly, understanding the overall end result is going to be key. Now there was another one on here that I wrote that was a challenge is we have a competitive environment, but sometimes they can be cutthroat. That's actually an easy thing to fix. I would rather somebody have that kind of team than have someone who's like, my team is like, they're not motivated at all. Like they just literally like, want. A competitive team is actually easy to work with. So what you're going to do with a competitive team when it comes to a sales meeting is turn it into a competition. So, in all the right ways. So whoever shows up on time, maybe have a lottery ticket. Hey, great job, Tabitha. You showed up. You were the first one in our class today, in our sales meeting. Thank you for coming in. Samantha, you were the second one to come in. Great job. I've got a lottery ticket for you. I'll make sure I give it to you when I see you. Kinsley, awesome. Keep it up. And you celebrate them. At the beginning of the competitiveness is when you share celebrations, I often will tell them, who do you want to celebrate? Which one of your team members do you want to celebrate? What did they exude that made an overall impact for the team? So what did they exude that made an overall impact for the team? All right, I'm going to pause real quick and I'm going to open up the floor. What questions are popping up for you in this moment that I can help support you in?
Me again. Okay, so one of the things that we kind of, I'm not going to say argue about, but from a leadership standpoint, when we're talking about people who lead our service providers versus maybe people who are leading our front desk team, guest services, they seem to have a very different way of dealing with things. And it's usually the service provider team tends to say that the front desk isn't as professional as they should be. I try to remind them, meet them where they're at, and we try to emulate, like show them what we want them to do. But it's like we're getting this constant, like, well, I think that they're just not doing it and they can't do it. How do you bridge that gap between kind of that service provider mentality of they're not doing enough and the 18-year-old that's like, I show up for work and I'm wearing my logoed shirt? Like that's kind of where I feel like that's that gap that I'd like to try to kind of like have everybody on the same playing field.
Mm-hmm. I often will say it this way. as a service provider myself, right? Don't come to me with the problem without the solution.
What do you do when
So
the solution is they just got to go? Like they don't look at, like, some of these people, at my front desk team, they're friendly. That's a box they have to check for me. They're all willing
yeah,
to learn. And I feel like sometimes as leaders, like you said, when you say tell them 16 times over and over and over, and they still maybe don't get it. Sometimes I feel like that broken record, my leadership team or the service provider end feels like we all tell them multiple times how things need to be done. We had a team meeting last week where they were like, my service providers, someone said our guests aren't getting consultation forms when they check in. And I was kind of like, okay, well, as a service provider, you're going to need to make sure they get that. So while I understand that we would like the front desk to do it, there are times it doesn't happen. So it's those types of things where we're just kind of like, at what point do you say they are doing a lot of really good things? You guys seem to forget all the things they do. It's just, we hang on to the one thing that made it inconvenient for you that day.
absolutely. Yeah. And I think bringing your leadership team into one of the sales meetings so they can literally see what's happening. And
Mhm.
I caution you with this with all the love in my heart, but I will set the stage with your leadership. You would set the stage with your leadership team and said, your job is to be in attendance, not to speak.
Okay. I like that.
Can I
Listen
add
to
one
hear.
thing to that real quick? It's Kinsley here, and we're a big company too. It sounds like you're a pretty large company as well.
Yeah.
And one thing that we've kind of implemented recently, because we have that big bridge too,
Mhm.
and it was kind of by mistake or like, begging and pleading, but one of our level 4 stylists had like her whole day canceled, and we had a front desk girl on a Saturday calling sick. So she stepped up to the plate and worked the front desk. And let me tell you, that was the best thing that could have ever
Mhm.
happened, because she is part of
Mhm.
our leadership team. And it really helped her realize, like, whoa, they do a lot up there. And it also helped her then go communicate that to the other people within our team as well, like what they do good. And so by helping recognize everything that they do, and by showing them the different things from a stylist perspective that they could do a little
Mhm.
bit different or improve or change, really helped bridge that gap big time for us.
I love it. Thank you for that.
I totally agree. And I think that was a big awakening moment for me as a service provider, was when I started working at the front desk and seeing the chaos that they live in.
Mhm.
Right. And then having them start to celebrate them. Like their job is like, as a leadership team, their job is to also lead by example, which would mean celebrate people. That's the first primary focus. Like it's easy to say like they didn't do, right? But what did they do well? And let's coach to the behavior. But you got to remember this: as a stylist, I receive dopamine regularly. My clients tell me how much they love me. They tell me if I ever leave that they'll follow me. I'm their alpha and omega, right? That's dopamine. Likes, loves. Your front desk is not getting dopamine, yet they are the youngest people in your company that require dopamine because they're accustomed to it on social. Think about that. What they get is somebody walking up to them saying, "Hey, I need you to, Jimmy John's is coming. Here's $10. Make sure I get my lunch." Like real talk. Can you call my next guest? I'm 15 minutes late. You didn't call my guest? Can you make service tickets? We're out of toilet paper. My other favorite is, well, she wanted something to drink. Did you ask her? It's like, wait, you think I didn't ask anybody? You think I'm back here just eating bonbons? Like, right? So that's a lot of withdrawals and not a lot of deposits. So I would ask your leadership team this question: are you making deposits or are you making withdrawals? When you walk up to them to talk to them, is it to tell them something they're doing wrong, or is it to tell them something that they're doing right? Because if it's to tell them they're doing something wrong, when you approach them, that's what they're expecting out of you. If you want to know why we have high turnover at the front desk, it's because we don't love deep and love hard. We take more withdrawals than we do deposits at that front end. You will never have a good, solid front desk team until they start to feel valued, seen, and heard. Dang, I took everyone to church on
Yeah, you
Monday
did. That's what I was just
Tuesday.
thinking.
I'm sure we were ready for that one on a Tuesday. But I say that with love because you guys, that was very much me in my own company before I became an owner as a high performing stylist. That was literally me. Like the joke was, is like, oh, we can hear you walk. Like that is not a flex. That is a terrified feeling. So does that help you too?
Yeah.
Good. Oh, I love this group of people. All right, so let's keep it rolling. All right, so in our next slide, here's something that I love is highlights. So highlight the services. Like these are perfect examples. If we're driving a sales meeting for our front desk, there's two ways that we make money in our industry, guys: service sales and retail sales. So our front desk team has a beautiful blend of customer service and sales, but we need to highlight the services that we sell or the retail that we sell. The number one thing I hear when I coach front desk teams, when I say like, "Hey, what is something that you wish you knew more of that you don't know?" They would say like, "I don't really know some of the services that we offer, or I don't really know the products." That would be equivalent to a server in a high-end restaurant when a guest says, "Hey, what's your favorite?" and they say, "I don't eat here," or "I don't really know." I would be like, right? So we have to educate and coach. So in my front desk sales meetings, this is exactly what I do. I keep it fun. Have them share what they want, have them choose. So reach out to your team, your front desk team, and say, what service do you guys want to highlight this month? What product do you want to highlight this month? And they'll tell you. So these are perfect examples. My team wanted to service a modern highlight. So we do like what it is. And then they wanted to highlight the Press Agent Raincoat and Serum by Mazzani. So we do what it is and the directions on how to use it. And then I ask them on the whim. I'm like, great. So like if someone is asking you what product to use, their hair gets really big and frizzy, how would you sell them the raincoat and serum, like the pressing agent? And they're like, okay, like they'll come up with some verbiage behind it right then and there, which is great because I'm engaging them. I'm creating a sense of community. So I would say, what about the service highlight? A modern color. So what is a modern color? They'll tell me. Awesome. What are some add-on services that maybe would pair beautifully with this? And they would tell me. So right there, I'm driving service and I'm driving retail, and we're working on scripting together. So now they know for that month, this is what I want you to highlight on. This is what I want you to focus on. I want you to focus on that retail item that we talked about. Now I'm going to just pause real quick and open up the floor. What are some ahas that are popping up for you in our 40 minutes together already?
Having your meeting set out for the whole year on Zoom and having the 80-20 rule. I love that.
Good. Love that. So you're going to set that up right away, right?
Yeah, it's already in my calendar with my 3 choices. But I do have a quick question about that last slide, though, real quick. Is that something that y'all are coming up together with the Spotlight product and service, or is that something that you and your leadership team already came up with and now you're kind of telling it to them?
Oh, great. So that's a great question. So the first one, if you're launching it for the first time, you choose it. But then like at the end of the meeting, I would be like, okay, I need 2 people. I want or I need 1 person to pick for next month what product we're going to highlight and what service we're going to highlight. Who would like to be that person to pick what that looks like for me?
Okay, so that's going to be aside from your specials and your current stuff you're doing. Okay.
Correct. This is be
Okay.
in addition to.
Okay.
Great question. Awesome. What other ahas are you guys having?
My aha was a reminder to make more deposits than withdrawals. I find that I have a to-do list and all the things I want them to accomplish. I'm always coming to them with things I want them to approve and plan, but that's just a reminder that I need to celebrate the things they are doing right.
You guys, and Valentine's Day is a perfect time to do that.
Why does she look so little right here?
So I'll give you a little hot tip if you want to learn how to love on them a little bit deeper. Here's a thing I'm going to be doing for my own company. I'm going to go out and get a bunch of like bouquets of flowers. I'm going to get some brownies. I'm going to get little Valentine's Day cards, and I'm going to put a card that says, not all angels are not all of our angels are above us. Some of the angels are amongst us. So it's something really fun, really cute, and then have some Valentine's Day chocolates and a brownie. And I just love deep, like wear your love shades.
Is
good
she
stuff.
here yet?
All right, what else? Give me one more. One more. Okay. All right. So remember, you guys are getting a lot of information. Just pick one or two things to start practicing with, okay? Sales goals. So in our sales goals, here's what we need to celebrate. We need to celebrate the sales, the wins, and I call it what are the glows and what are the grows. So what are the glows and what are the grows? And consistency. The final piece to your sales meeting is really having consistency. And celebrate the behavior that you want to happen. So if you want them to always be coming on time every month, 80-20, right? And you have, let's just say, Sue's coming to all of the meetings. I'm going to keep track of those things. And I'm going to be like, hey, in a public way, by the way, I just want to celebrate Sue because in our front desk sales meetings, she has attended over 90% of our sales meetings. And I just want to celebrate her for being a team player and for coming to those meetings. In our sales meetings also, you want to celebrate the glows and the grows. So as a team, and this is going to be in conjunction to someone who said competitive environment, but can be cutthroat. Here's what you're going to do. As a team, what would our glows mean? So as a team, what were our glows this month? Meaning, what did we just glow at? We just killed. You might hear things like customer service, answering phones, consultation cards. You might hear stuff like that. And what are the grows? So as a front desk sales team, what is our grow? Meaning, what is a window of opportunity that we can get better at? Notice how I call it the grow and not the thing that we sucked at. Now you guys might have young teams. So using words like glow and grow has a better connotation to it than what's working, what's not working. Because when you hear the word glow, you're hearing this right now all over. What is your glow up? You had a glow up. Like, sis, you glowed. That just means you killed it, right? If you're not on TikTok, it's okay. But you have to have people around you that are sharing some of the new terminology that's coming so that you can be aware of what that means. Because the first time I heard someone say to me, like, oh my gosh, you look snatched, I was like, I'm not stealing from anybody. Like, I'm not stealing something. And she was like, no, snatch means like you look good. I'm like, oh, like, thank you. She was 17. She also told me that I needed to pop off. And I was like, what are we popping? like, I'm not sure what you mean. And she's like, no, you popped off. Like, that was it. Like, you did it. Now, she doesn't talk to the guests like this way, but she does internally to her team. And I'm just learning. I'm being a learner myself. I'm meeting her where she's at. And I'm like, so how would I use that in context? Like, and she's teaching me. So be a learner. And you guys, as you are learning, I'm crying because it's so true and I'm laughing about it inside. Be a learner in that so that they can teach you those things, because now you as a leader, as an owner, are more authentic. And they're like, they want to teach you. One of the things I thought myself was like, y'all don't want to hang out with a 34-year-old woman. You don't want to hang out with me. But come to find out, they actually do. Like, they do want to hang out with us. They do want to know more about who we are, because thankfully social media has made it acceptable for people of all authenticities, all walks of life, to be all unified. And that's what they're looking for. So we need to celebrate the sales goals too. So do they know what your sales goal is? That would be my other question. Do they know what your RTS goal was? Do they know what your pre-book goal was? Do they know how you performed at the end of the month? And if you were short, so say your goal was 20% retail to service, and you guys ended up at 15%, that's 5% variance, right? I would say, hey guys, so I would never use the word variance with them. Use words that they get. So I would be like, hey, our goal was 20. We came out at 15. We were like 5% like under. Tell me, what do you guys think as a sales team? What do you guys think is a window of opportunity where we could get a little bit closer to 20? Like, what do you think went sideways? And I'm going to open the floor. And they're going to tell you guys the things that you don't want to hear, by the way. They're going to tell you things like, well, I feel like sometimes when we have a bunch of level 4s working, they're not filling out their service tickets at all. I'm like, I feel like we have like, sometimes at the front desk, we don't even talk about the retail. We just say things like, so did you need anything? I'm like, cool, thanks for sharing. And then I'm going to ask them questions like this. As a sales team, what kind of solutions do you think that we can create to drive that number up a little bit higher? And they're going to tell you, well, I think we need to do more promotions. Okay, cool. And what way do you feel like that is? Is it through social media? Is it internal? What is the thing that you guys see that we can get better at? Well, maybe like doing more on Instagram or TikTok. Like, we don't even have a TikTok. So I would be like, you're right, we don't. I'm not good at that. Are any of you? And they're like, yep. I'm like, great. So do you think that's something you could help me with? And they're going to be like, yep. That means that they're going to come out from behind the front desk and they're going to start engaging in the client experience, and they're going to start to create TikToks on your retail items. And then you're going to celebrate the heck out of them when they do that. Do you see how this is fun now for them? Right? So I'm going to open up the floor again. So I would love to hear what are some things that are popping up for you right now as windows of opportunity that you can learn from. Oh, and if you want me to unmute you and your camera's on, just wave your hand in front of the camera so I can know you want to talk.
I have a quick, maybe it's a question, I guess. So we have like the front desk tracking sheets that I'll call them we use. I think sometimes they're very intimidating. Do you feel like they're intimidating to this generation because we don't explain them correctly? Or is it just that that's not, my feeling is that they just, either it's not important to them or it just feels complicated because there's so many of them that they really do, they're really good about, having the conversation, some of them, not all of them, but they just simply forget. It's like tracking it to them. It's like, oh yeah, I forgot to do that. And it's like, I can't reward, or I can't track your progress if you're not going to put in the work of actually saying, I did this thing. Am I missing the mark as an almost 50-year-old person that is like I just don't connect with 18-year-olds and like what they're willing to do?
I think the better question, I totally agree with you on that. So I feel like the better question would be, have you discovered from your current team what their motivator is?
Sam is on this call. She's my guest service manager. Sam, would you say that you've identified any of that?
I know their motivator is not money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's quality time and positive affirmations and gifts.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that. Definitely the positive
100%.
affirmations. Mm-hmm.
So when they post the sheet, the tracking sheets, and they do the work, are we celebrating them in a public way where they get dopamine? If the answer is no, that's the challenge.
Got it. Okay.
That's genuinely it. So that would be my other question with front desk teams to create a solid sales meeting. It's all, you guys, it is all about the way that we celebrate and love them. If you haven't heard that through this whole conversation, that should be your number one takeaway. So asking them
they
questions.
should have, like, in the break room, they should have their own, like, we should be tracking something back there. Sam, you're in the break room right now. Go.
Yes, I am.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
If they're hitting sales as a sales team, share that with the whole company. You guys, this month they did $8,000 in gift card sales. Divide that by how many team members per person. That's what it created, more revenue in all of our day. Yay. When you see them, give them a high five. They like chocolate, vodka, tequila, movie tickets. I'm just kidding. But like celebrate them, right? That's how you really like check them. I would say, when is the last time that we have found out how they are motivated? Because the way that I am motivated is through money. That's my motivator. My team is not motivated. They love quality time. They love physical touch. So if I go up to them, I'm like, hey, Allison, how are you doing? She's going to be like, ooh, I love that. If I bring her a coffee and I say, hey, thanks a latte, no pun intended. She's like, oh, I feel loved.
Thank you.
Good. Awesome. Anyone else? Okay, good. So I don't, in our forum, you guys, why we created these forums is for you guys to create some solid information. The one thing I want you to always keep in mind, you guys will never be able to get your time back. You will always be able to make your money back. Do not let this be a time that you spent with me, an hour of your life, just hearing some good information. Put one or two things in practice and start the behavior and start the action and start having the best team that you want. If you are waiting for the best front desk team to show up, by the way, it's not going to. We have to be the ones to create that team, right? And always think about that. So like I said, my contact information, you can totally find me on social. You can send me, I will tell you, my email is jmolina@Summit Salon. I'm going to type it in. .com. You can actually reach out to me and I can do a strategy call. with your front desk team. I can do a strategy call with you. I can customize it. If you haven't had a front desk workshop or virtual coaching, that is a great resource. I have a team of 7 people who can come in and do specialized coaching to help you in this. If you're comfortable and you've been doing this for a while and you need some different mentoring, maybe the virtual options are available for you. I know I do a lot of front desk sales meetings for companies, for the front desk team, so that the owner or the lead can then learn how to do that. That's another thing that's available for you. So if you need help, that's what's one of the best things about being a part of a community, is that you have people that will help you. So you have my email, reach out to me when you have questions, let me know what we can do to support you, and just know, y'all, you're not in this alone. We all have the same struggles, but in warmer climates or colder climates, right? That's really the biggest difference. I hope you guys found some value in your time today. And I hope you make today the best day yet. Love deep on somebody in your company today.